Hey, my name is Doug Mewson. I've been making trumpet mouthpieces for about 40 years. And I'm making a tutorial today to show you some of the stuff that you need if you want to get started in doing it. This is just the basics. It's kind of an overview on the tools required. So here's what you need. So basically you need a metal lathe and a lathe. You need a chuck to hold the mouthpiece. This spins. You need to have, on the opposite end, you need to have another chuck that'll hold drill bits and mouthpiece reamers. In the middle, you've got some way to hold cutting tools, like these. And then, you got your wheels. You know how a lathe works. You wheel the different wheels and you move the tip of the tool around and you cut your part. So, all the cheap Chinese mini lathes that you can get for like $450, you can do good work with those. Those are essentially the same as any other lathe. To do mouthpiece work, you need to be able to hold the mouthpiece in the chuck well. And this kind of chuck does a really good job about, holding almost any mouthpiece you can get in a chuck like this. Don't mess with collets, because collets are good for production, but not for modifying a mouthpiece, for instance. So you need a way to hold, you need a way to spin, you need a way to drill. Then you need a way to cut. So basically what for your basic turning, I use carbide inserts, and that is what they call a budget carbide generic insert. Works great for brass. Works great for steel, actually, too. So there's another one. This tool, this is a tool rest that goes in the holder, and then when your mouthpiece is spinning, you can hold a freehand tool like that. I have another video on how to do that. Suffice it to say that you need a tool like that. On the opposite end of this holder, I have an inside threading tool. See if I can get a focus on that. That's a boring tool for cutting inside small holes. That works great. This tool you don't need, but this is a roll stamp that has my name on it. So that rolls against your part. That's kind of nice to have, but that was hard to get. Here is a outside threading tool. Makes a 60-degree thread. You don't really need that unless you're going to thread. Here's an inside threading tool. Once again, you don't need that unless you're going to thread. And here is a cutoff tool to cut off your part. You can get by with a hacksaw. When your part is spinning, you can just hacksaw it off it. These work great. They don't work so good in a small lathe, but they work in a big lathe. It works great because you need rigidity. So this lathe is kind of big. This is a 12-inch. It's a 12-inch swing by 24, and it's what you call a gear head. Notice it's a Herseth Tool Company lathe. Anyway, it's got, it's nice. I like it. It's got digital readouts. It's got threading gears. If you ask me and you're going to buy a lathe, I wouldn't get any lathe that doesn't have these gears on it. Because if you're going to do any threading, if you have to change gears, that's awful. But these quick change gears, you only get these in kind of big lathes. A small lathe generally doesn't have these. These are where you choose your different thread sizes, by the way. So here's some more tools. I always have my drill bits that I use all the time. Maybe 5 or 6 drill bits I have at quick access right here. And my cutting tools, I use this all the time. That's one of your main shapers. Have that access there. I have this one. It's another shaper that I use all the time. This right here is a holder for hand stamps. these, let's see if I can get these letter stamps you hold in that other thing. You can hold it nice and straight. These are backbore reamers. I use these nylon washers to set how far the backbore reamer inserts into the backbore. And then if I want to go farther to make the backbore bigger, I can take one of these washers off. Okay. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like eight different backbore reamers. These are my newest ones. These work great. Then I have 8 different throat reamers, or straight flute reamers. This is how you ream the throat of a mouthpiece. That's a 28. Trying to hold my phone and do this at the same time. Oh, so back there, behind these reamers, I have a cup cutter. That's a cup cutter. You have to make, I make these. You don't have to have this, but these sure come in handy. That is, that's a Gustat 1, a G1 cup cutter. And it works great. Not too hard to make. You have to know a little bit to make them. Even if you're not going to cut this mouthpiece, by using this cutter, you can maybe get 90% of the way there. So back here, I've got different ones like 3C, different shallow mouthpiece ones. I got a 1.5 C cutter, a 7 C cutter. You can, about 8 cutters, you can get almost close to any mouthpiece. Then you have to finish them after that, or you can just cut it with a cutter, leave it that way, of course. But chances are you want to have some variation after that. You don't need any of that. You don't need those cup cutters, but you do need these reamers. And if you're not going to make backbores, you don't need to make a backbore tool either. It's really quite easy to make 2-piece mouthpieces that have screw backbores, and you could just buy backbores and never have to make them. So anyway, hand stamps, if you do hand stamps, get 1/16 inch high. Otherwise, it's too big, I find. On the lathe, to cut the taper of a shank, you can set up this taper cutter, and I have mine set up to a mouthpiece shank, and I never change it. It's just that thing is tight, and when I need a mouthpiece shank, it's already set up. Anyway, that's kind of. Oh, this right here is that's an iPhone mount for my camera because I'm making videos. This right here, check that out. That is nice. That's a really good magnifying glass on a magnetic mount base. You can swing it around and get it right into position for when you're doing close work. I really like that thing. Up here, here's something you have to have. This is what we call a dial indicator. I have a video up on my site about how to use this. But this goes a lot of places, but you can go on the carriage. You can position it. You touch this little tip to your workpiece. Then if your workpiece is wobbling, you'll see this needle go. It's absolutely something you have to have. And back here I have another one. If I never use this one, but it's nice. I like it. This one measures in 10,000ths of an inch. And this one only the markers are for 1,000th. So that one is 10 times more accurate, or 10 times more. The resolution is 10 times higher. This chuck, by the way, this is just your basic generic new Chinese lathe. It's recent, and I'll have to say that this thing is really working out nicely. This chuck, straight from China or wherever it came from, was installed perfectly straight. If you put a precision rod in here, it runs out at 1/10,000th of an inch. Perfectly straight. You really can't get better than that. So I was really pleased with that. Sometimes you might not have that good of luck, but I really like this. And it was, these things are only like, I don't know, $300 for this chuck, something like that. Maybe even less, I don't know. I was going to get a better one. A better one's like $1,600. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to get a precision rod and check mine. I knew it was good. 1/10,000th of an inch. So I'm going to keep it. I was going to spend $1,600 to get a good one, but I don't think I'm going to now. This is a good one. This lathe has kind of a lot of bells and whistles. This is the threading bar. It's got power cross feed. It's got some nice things. Really nice power feeds, which I never use. The speed change gears, there's no belt, so it's nice. Anyway, that's the overview of the basic tools. The basic tools of the trade. All right, here's some more. You got to have a buffer right there. You got to have a grinder. And a grinder is how you that's how you shape these to put an edge on them. You make these in the lathe, then you grind them half away to put that edge. Same with the cup cutters. So a grinder is required. And then this little baby is a abrasive cutoff wheel. And that would this is a mouthpiece impression. And you have to cut the mouthpiece impression in half. You do that on there. Then when you do that, you'll end up with something like this. This is a mouthpiece impression, and this is how you would make a copy. And as you can see, I've got a lot of these, probably, 200 or 300 of these different marked mouthpiece impressions over the years. I never use that anymore because my magnifying glass works great. I used to use this. This is the stamp holder. I used to use that arbor press to press letters, to mark things, like to put my name. But it's much easier with this other thing that I was showing you. Holding a hand stamp with this. And then the piece is in the lathe. You just hold it. Boom. Works great. So that's the tools that you need. That's a little once over. I want to make shorter videos for every little job that you need to do, like a video for cutting a shank, a video for threading a back bore, a video for, all the different things. So there you go. Thanks.